in Unit 6, we come to another special covenant aspect of the relationship between God and Abraham, the servant who is following him through this journey in the land of Canaan, the land of promise, ultimately in human history. You'll examine the text of Genesis chapter 17, pretty much the entire chapter, as we look at this special covenant sign of circumcision. Again, we have in the intervening chapter the aspect of Abraham's following the world's traditions in exploring how to gain an heir. We've had the issue of the heir through adoption, that of Eliezer of Damascus, his servant, who would be the heir, who would take care of the family in their aged state, who would ensure the continuation of the family traditions and so forth in the next generation. In chapter 16, Abraham uses a second means. After adoption of Eliezer, it is through Hagar and the birth of the son Ishmael, following very traditions. We have numerous ancient Near Eastern accounts of both adoption and of the utilization of a concubine for gaining an heir. But that's not the full plan of God. He is planning through Abraham and Sarah to bless the nations through a special son, as we call him, the son of promise. But before we get to that stage, there's another aspect of covenant, the covenant relationship that is revealed here in chapter 17. Circumcision would be the means by which the identity of the males of the patriarchal family would be noted, how they could be identified. Circumcision was not unknown in the ancient Near East. We actually have pictures and other descriptions of Egyptian practice of circumcision. That is the removal of the foreskin of the male genitals. But here it would be a unique way of identifying the people of God, the people of God's plan to bring about His blessing upon the nations. So this would be an identity source. And in the narrative, of course, we have the ceremony is carried out through the entire family, including Ishmael. What's fascinating is that Ishmael is a part of the covenant identity family, but he is not the son of promise. That son would come forth. We also have, of course, the renaming of Abram and Sarah in these successive narratives. Abraham would be a father of many nations. Those nations would come forth not only through Isaac, the son of promise, who would be born later in our chapters, but through Ishmael and others, the concubines that would be born, that would give birth to other sons of Abraham, would also be fathers of other nations of the Middle East. So in this Genesis chapter 7, the covenant theme continues. Identity, very important in our world today as we look at tribalism and people group identities. People throughout the world have identity sourced in various ways, including language. And the Hebrew language here, of course, uniquely portrays God's relationship to humanity through this narrative in chapter 17.